Welcome back, guys. Quick video, stabilizer setup. We were going through we try to get back to you guys as quick as we can on these comments and questions and stuff, but I mean, we've got real lives and work and our schedules are crazy, so we fit these videos in as we can. But we had a comment from a Mr. Lee Wells talking about requesting that we do a stabilizer setup video. Another good video on that is on Paige Pierce's channel. She's got a good one. But what it boils down to, on my setups, I always like, just rule of thumb, I like to set my stabilizer ratio to where when I hold this out with no manipulation on my grip, just naturally let it rest, I like it to be level or slightly, ever so slightly rocked back. And I just find with these particular reckonings and the way I hold, that's the ratio I like to run. So actually, if you were to ask me my ratio, I could take a good educated guess, but I really don't know exactly what it is. I base mine all off of feel and overall weight and just my pin floating pattern. So I'll look at that. If I need another ounce on the back to get that slight rock back, or if it's a little front heavy and it's not quite level, I'll add and take away to get it to that spot right there. And it's either level normally or slightly rock back. And on this particular boat, I used to run a 12-inch and a little more weight on my 35 reckoning. This one's a 38, but I was having issues with the weights on the back bar actually hitting me in the side. When I'd be at full draw and start to aim, it would just kind of bump me in the side. So I went from a 12-inch down to a 10-inch bar and changed my ratio just a little bit because the bar is not quite as long. But that's kind of the way I run mine. As far as how much weight to run, it's all just a customization thing. I mean, it really comes down to the individual. You can't.
They say a good place to start is like
1 and 3.
1 and 3, yeah, 1 and 2.5, 1 and 3.
Some guys may like to run a crazy ratio to where the front of their boat just leans forward. Yeah. So by doing that ratio, we'll get you close, holding your bow out, stacking 3 weights on the front, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 to 12 on the back, and just playing with it and watching how it naturally bounces and sets. You're doing the same thing basically. And once you get there, you can keep that ratio, add overall weight or take weight off, depending on if your overall bow weight at full draw when you're aiming, a good indicator your overall bow weight is too heavy, your pin's gonna want to dip bang, and you're gonna have to fight it up constantly. A lot of guys will say, take weight off the front, add weight to the back. But I struggle with that forever. And I would add weight to the back, put like 3 or 4 on the back, add 1 on the front, and then it just wasn't working. It was getting worse. My dip bangs were going from here to here, and it was getting worse and worse and worse. And finally it clicked. I was like, maybe the actual weight of my bow is too much. So I started taking weight off and kept the same ratio and figured out it was the overall bow weight with my leverage. By my leverage, I mean, I like to think about it kind of like a seesaw. This is the center of the seesaw, the pivot point. This is the left seat, and back here it's your lever, and your release is your right seat. And you want that seesaw to be balanced. So your overall holding weight versus finding the happy medium with holding weight back here.
Explain to them the holding weight compared to what is up front. If you're not holding a lot.
So like right now, if I
and Lee, Mr. Lee, we really appreciate this. This is a great video we planned on doing, and you made that comment right at the right time. Excellent.
So if I hold this bow out, I can hold it for, depending on how strong of a person you are, you can hold it longer or less amount of time. But regardless, my arm is slowly starting to burn and burn and burn and burn. It does the same thing when you're holding at full draw, but you're holding weight on the back wall. I like about a 16 to 18 pound holding weight. Cullen shoots about a 21 to 24 pound holding weight. And I think he runs a little more stabilizer weight than I do now. And how you make sense of that, his holding weight is counteracting the overall bow weight. You don't want to, that's part of keeping a low shoulder, good form. As you're anchored, it's kind of, your holding weight's keeping your boat up.
If you're not holding back a lot of weight and you're only pulling 9 or 10 pounds with your back arm, your front arm's doing most of the holding.
Right, your front arm is wanting to stay up like that right there.
Yep. And
guys, I mean, this isn't something I can just sit here and tell you, Yeah, put 12 ounces of weight on the front bar, put 32 ounces of weight on your back bar, and set your holding weight at 18 pounds. And it works every time. There's no formula. I can't sit there and tell you that and it worked for 9 out of 10 people. This is something, I mean, the best way I can get you close is holding your bow out, making sure it's level or slightly rocked back. Most bows that I've shot personally, slightly rocking back whenever you're just holding it out, letting it naturally balance. You want it level or slightly rocking back. That's where they hold the best. And the rest of it, I don't get too into the angling down or angling up, or, you know, I run most of my bars either level with the front bar, both of them level, or slightly down. That's just a feel thing. It's what you know, it's just how the bow feels and holds. It's just a customization thing.
And this is not after 100 arrows in one weekend of shooting, or even a month after shooting. This takes a long time to play with things and get it down. That's why you see all the pro archers, they shoot so many different ways. Their form's different, their bars are different, their weight's different. That's because they figured out what works for them over time.
The length of the bars, I mean, a lot of guys say, you know, longer bars help with torque. Actually, in all reality, it makes torque worse. So for an experienced archer, what I mean by it makes it worse, somebody that shoots all the time, been shooting for years, it's going to make that movement amplify. It's just like holding out a big 2x4 trying to hold it steady versus holding out a little wood block.
It makes it slower, but it's harder to stop once it gets going.
Right. But, I mean, to me, it amplifies my movement. So like if I'm holding on an X and my pin goes off the X, it's slowing that movement, but it's still there. But at the same time, by slowing it, the longer bar is making it harder to get back. With a shorter bar, instead of having a pin float like this, you may have a pin float like this. But a longer bar with more weight is going to slow it down. So if you use shot timing in your shot process at all, it's really going to help you, because you can actually see where the pin's going and where it's going to end up when your shot burns. So
cool.
You want to throw anything in? That's about all I got on bars.
So another thing, one more thing we want to talk about with stabilizers and just weight in general with bows. It's kind of hard to word this, but basically over time, the goal is to add weight to your bow, because a heavier bow is a more stable bow. It's harder to get off the target instead of it being jerky than it is, you know, whenever you shoot a lot and you got your heavy bow and you get it on the target, it's going to be more likely for it to stay on the target for a certain amount of time. You know, there's a fine line with that, but you should be working on shot sequence, breaking your shot within 4 to 5 seconds anyway, and it'll just be rock solid. So I'm not saying to everybody out there right now, go stack weight on your bow. What I am saying is it's just like lifting, bench pressing. If your goal is to bench press 350 pounds, you obviously over time want to add weight to that bar. So to get stronger, it's the same concept with archery. The heavier you can shoot your bow, do it on that heavy end and not the light end. And that's my main tip about stabilizer weight and bow weight. So it takes a while to shoot. I started out with, 3 ounces on the front and like 6 on the back, and I thought it was heavy as crap. Now I've got, 20 something on the back, I think 25 on the back, and like 11 or 12 on the front, and it feels like a feather to me. So I'm just trying to build that weight, because I do notice it is more stable for a short amount of time. All right, so here's some questions we got. This is from Splinter. We appreciate it. I absolutely love this channel. Thank you for that. We really appreciate that. I have a question. I've never in all my life shot a compound hunting bow without a peep. A coworker told me he's been shooting his without one since he bought his Hoyt Power Max. That bow came with everything off the jump. I just don't see how you could use pins and have a drop away, but still aim like a traditional bow. Please bless me with your wisdom. Well, we're not that wise, but
well, my first initial, where my mind went when I heard that was, my first question is, okay, is he canting the bow?
Right, yeah, that's what I was about to, we're on the same page, Matt. That's what I was about to ask. So, shooting a bow without a peep. There are people that do it. I've never done it, so I might not have too much insight, good news, or good info on this, rather. But there are people that do it. As long as your anchor point is exact, I don't see an issue with it. It might even be better for hunting. If you've practiced with it and you can pound like that and your anchor point is money, then that's fine. I can't do it. But another thing is, as far as a drop away or rest, yeah, if he's canting the bow, that's not, yeah, we just had somebody try to get in. If he's canting the bow, that's not gonna work out. So if he's shooting it like a normal and he's got a good anchor point, rock on.
And
It's not helping it as much. So
lost my train of thought.
that's all right. We got a lot of stabilizer stuff to go over. Let's see here. Those are nice shoes. Where'd you get those?
These are my magic shoes.
Your magic shooting shoes.
If I wear these shoes, I shoot 300s. They're magic shoes.
Oh, they're either gonna unsubscribe or stay subscribed, I guess. But they'll probably unsubscribe after that.
I can make them subscribe.
Make them subscribe. Oh my goodness. It's a Christian channel.